Double your money with compound interest, the power of the Rule of 72. Let me ask you a question. What if you could make your money work harder than you do? No, I'm not talking about taking big risks or hoping for a stock market miracle. I'm talking about the Rule of 72, an ancient financial principle that has the power to double your money faster than you ever imagined. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Compound interest sounds like a great idea in theory, but not for me, right? You might even be thinking, I'm not an investor or a financial wizard, so how does this apply to me? But trust me, it applies to you, and it's probably the most powerful tool you're not using. Most people completely overlook this simple rule because it feels too easy. They spend years focused on stock tips, crypto booms, or trying to get lucky with their investments. But here's the truth. If you're not tapping into the Rule of 72, you're leaving money on the table. This isn't about complex algorithms or deep financial knowledge. It's about understanding how time can do most of the work for you. And the best part? You don't need a huge starting point. You just need to start. So let me ask you again, what if your money could do all the heavy lifting while you sit back and relax? Stick around, because I'm going to show you how to use it to your advantage. You'll be amazed at how easy it is. Point 1. Time is more powerful than rate. Let's dive into the Rule of 72. This is where the magic happens. It's a simple formula that allows you to calculate how long it will take for your money to double, given a specific interest rate. All you have to do is divide 72 by your annual interest rate, and boom, there you have it. This rule is so powerful because it helps you predict the future growth of your money in the simplest way possible. Let's break it down with a relatable example. Imagine you're earning 6% annually on your investment. If you apply the Rule of 72, you divide 72 by 6. That gives you 12. So if you're earning 6% interest every year, it will take you 12 years to double your money. Not bad, right? It sounds straightforward, but this is where people often miss the bigger picture. You might be thinking, 12 years? That's a long time. But here's the kicker. Time is actually more powerful than the rate itself. It's not just about how fast you can earn, it's about how much time you allow your money to grow. The longer you give it, the more it compounds, even if the rate seems slow. That's the power of compounding. Now let's take it a step further. Imagine you're earning 8% annually instead of 6%. That would only take 9 years to double your money. Pretty good, right? But wait, here's where it gets interesting. Because we all know that time can work in mysterious ways. What if you could stretch that 8% for even longer? Imagine if you started at 20 instead of 30. That's 10 extra years of compounding working for you. This is why the rich aren't just relying on big returns. They're letting time do its thing. And here's the real lesson. It's not just about finding the highest interest rate, it's about the duration of that interest. Because time is your true ally when it comes to growing your wealth. Stick around because in the next point, I'll show you how consistency beats brilliance every time. Point 2. Early discipline beats late brilliance. Let's talk about why starting early is so crucial. Here's the thing. Most people get caught up in the idea of finding the perfect investment or waiting for the perfect market conditions. But the truth is, time in the market is way more important than timing the market. If you want to build wealth, it's not about predicting the next big thing. It's about starting and staying consistent. Let's take a look at a simple example. Let's say you start saving $200 a month at the age of 25. Over the next 20 years, you're putting in that steady $200 each month. By the time you turn 45, you'll have accumulated a significant amount, let's say around $120,000, depending on the rate of return. Now compare that to someone who starts saving $200 a month at 35. 10 years later, even though they've had 10 extra years of investment time, they'll have invested the same amount of money, but less time for their money to compound. The key difference is that you started earlier and gave your money more time to grow. That's where early discipline wins. The early saver not only has 10 years more, but that money has been working for them longer, compounding year after year. And that's where the magic happens. But here's the twist. Sticking with it is what makes the real difference. It's not just about starting early, it's about maintaining that commitment. If you stop, if you panic, or if you let small obstacles get in your way, that's when the real power of compounding gets lost. Point 3, compounding punishes inconsistency. Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes people make, inconsistency. You might think that making a few random withdrawals or skipping an investment here and there won't make a huge difference, but it does. Compounding is unforgiving when it comes to interruptions. Let me give you an example. Imagine you've set up a plan to invest $100 a month into a high-interest account. You start strong, putting $100 in each month like clockwork. But after 6 months, you pull out $500 because you need some extra cash for a vacation. Then a few months later, you take out another $300 to cover some bills. Before you know it, your consistent $100 per month isn't so consistent anymore. This is where compounding suffers. Every time you interrupt that flow, you're stopping your money from working as hard as it could. The growth slows down, and the wealth you were building starts to stall. Even worse, those missed deposits or withdrawals mean your money isn't compounding properly. You can't expect exponential growth if you're constantly breaking the cycle. So, what happens when you stick with it without interruptions? Let me show you. The next point will reveal how sticking to your plan, even when it feels like you're not making progress, will set you up for huge returns in the long run. Stay tuned. Point 4. Delayed spending is accelerated freedom. Let's talk about something that's tough for most of us: delayed spending. The truth is, every dollar you spend today is a dollar that could have been compounding tomorrow. Imagine you just got paid, and you're itching to buy that new gadget or treat yourself to a night out. It feels good in the moment, right? But what if I told you that those little expenses, the ones that seem insignificant, are actually robbing you of future wealth? Here's the thing. When you choose to delay spending and invest that money instead, you're not just saving for the future, you're accelerating your freedom. Every time you choose to forgo immediate gratification and put that money to work, you're giving yourself more options in the future. It's like building a snowball that gets bigger with each investment. The longer you wait, the faster it grows. And eventually, that snowball becomes big enough to create the kind of financial freedom you've always dreamed of. Delayed gratification doesn't just help you save, it accelerates your path to freedom. You're no longer a slave to your paycheck, constantly trading hours for dollars. Instead, you're putting your money in a position to work for you, growing at a pace that you can't even imagine right now. Stick with me, because we're about to see how reinvesting those gains makes the entire process even easier. Point 5. Reinvested gains make future decisions easier. Now, let's dive into something that takes delayed gratification to the next level: reinvesting gains. When you make money from investments, whether that's dividends, interest, or capital gains, most people think that's just extra money. They treat it like it's a bonus, something to be spent or saved separately. But what if I told you that reinvesting those gains is where the real magic happens? Every penny you reinvest is a penny that's compounding on itself. So if you earn $500 in gains this year, and instead of spending it, you reinvest that money into the same investment, that $500 starts working for you just like your original investment. But here's the thing. Reinvested gains don't just sit there, they compound. This creates an exponential growth effect. Over time, the money you've reinvested will grow faster than your initial investment. But here's the secret. It's not just about making money, it's about making decisions easier for your future self. When you reinvest, you're building a financial foundation that makes your choices simpler down the road. Instead of worrying about where to get more cash or how to scrape by, you'll be making smarter, more strategic financial decisions because your money has been quietly working for you in the background. Now, let's talk about how consistency and time can turn your initial small investments into a financial powerhouse. Ready to see how it all comes together? Stay tuned. Point 6. You don't need more money, you need more time. Here's a truth that most people overlook. You don't need more money, you need more time. We live in a world that's obsessed with earning more, but the real game changer is time in the market. The longer you let your money work for you, the more it compounds, and that's what makes the biggest difference in the long run. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you start investing with just $500. Not a huge amount, right? But you're consistent. You put it into an account that grows over time, and you add a bit more each year. After 10 years, your $500 has grown significantly. Not because you added a lot of money, but because you gave it the time to compound. It's a snowball effect. The longer you leave your money untouched, the more it grows. It's not about finding big ways to make money. It's about starting small and giving your money time to grow. Even small amounts, when invested early and left to compound, can turn into something massive. So while everyone else is out there hustling for more cash, you're quietly letting time do the heavy lifting. But what if I told you that small amounts of money invested over time can create a huge difference? That's where we're headed next. Point 7. Tiny percentages decide decades of wealth. Let's talk about the devil in the details. Tiny percentages. Most people don't realize how small changes in your return rate can have a massive impact on your wealth over time. It's not just about how much you invest, but about how much those investments are earning. A tiny increase in your interest rate could completely change your financial future. Take this for example. Let's say you're getting a return rate of 6% per year. Now imagine you boost that rate to just 7%. That's only a 1% increase, but over time, that 1% could double your wealth in half the time. Doesn't sound like much, but compounded over decades, that tiny tweak could turn a modest investment into a financial powerhouse. This is why it's so important to focus on optimizing those small details, whether it's choosing the right investment account, finding slightly higher return rates, or even switching up your strategy every now and then. These tiny tweaks could make or break your financial future. So, what do you think? Are you paying enough attention to those small percentages? Stay with me, because we're about to take a look at how patience and consistency can lead to the kind of wealth you've always dreamed of. Point 8. Patience isn't a virtue, it's a multiplier. Patience doesn't just reward you, it multiplies your wealth through compounding. I know. We're all used to hearing that patience is a virtue, but when it comes to growing your money, patience is actually the secret weapon. The longer you wait, the more your money works for you. And here's the kicker. When you wait long enough, your money works harder for you than you ever could. Imagine you put $10,000 into an investment that earns 8% annually. At first, you may not see big changes, but the longer you let it sit, the more that interest compounds on itself. Over time, you're no longer just earning 8% on your initial $10,000s. You're earning 8% on your $10,000 plus all the growth it's generated so far. That's where the magic of patience comes in. Each year, you're getting a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. But what happens when most people don't have the patience to wait? They pull out early, or they get impatient with the slow growth. Let's explore why this is such a big mistake and why it's hurting your long-term financial health. Point 9. Most people interrupt compounding out of boredom. Here's the problem. Most people interrupt compounding out of boredom. They check their investments too frequently, pull money out at the slightest dip, or get distracted by the latest hot tip from social media. The truth is, emotional investing is one of the most common ways people hurt their wealth. They can't stand the idea of just letting it be, and so they mess with the very process that's supposed to work for them. When you're constantly checking your portfolio, you're not giving time a chance to do its thing. Every time you pull out or change your strategy because you're bored or anxious, you disrupt the compounding process. You're not allowing the steady, powerful growth that happens when your money just sits there and grows over time. Here's where the real magic happens, when you simply leave your money alone. It's like planting a tree. You can't keep digging it up to see how it's doing. You have to give it time to grow. That's how compounding works its magic. So, let's take a moment to consider what happens when you stop disrupting that process. Point 10. Money compounds, but so do habits. Money compounds over time, but so do habits. The same principle that makes your wealth grow can apply to your financial habits. Every time you make a decision to save a little more, invest a little more consistently, or stick to your strategy, you're creating habits that compound in the same way your money does. Think about it. If you consistently put $200 a month into an investment, that discipline builds on itself, just like the interest you're earning. In a few years, it becomes second nature. The more you invest regularly, the easier it gets. And just like compounding, those small decisions add up, turning into something much bigger than you could have ever imagined. It's not just about money, it's about creating habits that create wealth. And I'm about to show you how you can start building those habits so you don't just get rich, you get smarter about your money. Stay tuned. Bonus point, the secret hack that makes compounding even more powerful. All right, here's the moment you've been waiting for, the bonus hack that will make the rule of 72 even more powerful. You won't find this anywhere else, and I'm about to drop this for you, exclusively for those who stick with me until the end. Here's the secret: tax-advantaged accounts. If you're not already using tax-advantaged accounts, like an IRA or a 401k, you're seriously leaving money on the table. These accounts allow your investments to grow tax-deferred or tax-free, depending on the type. What does that mean for compounding? It means your money gets to grow without being taxed every year. So instead of paying taxes on your returns, you let that growth compound without interruption. Let me break it down. If you're investing in a standard taxable account, you lose a portion of your gains to taxes every year. But with tax-advantaged accounts, you're keeping more of your money working for you, which means more compounding. The rule of 72 starts to feel like it's in overdrive when you're using these types of accounts, and your money doubles even faster. Now, this is just one way to accelerate your wealth building. There are other strategies like choosing high-return investments and automating your contributions, but maximizing tax-advantaged accounts is one of the smartest moves you can make. If you're ready to take your financial future to the next level, drop a quick comment below. Let me know if you're already using these strategies or if you're planning to start. If you found value in this video, hit the like button so more people can learn about building wealth. The more engagement we get, the more people can access this game-changing information. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new strategy to grow your wealth. I'm posting daily tips and insights to help you build your financial future. Send this video to someone you know who's ready to build a better financial future. Share this knowledge and let's create a community of smart, empowered investors. Thanks for watching. We have a great video recommended for you next, so don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen. I'll see you in the next video.